If you're interested in Frank music played by non-Frank musicians, there is an album by the Whip It Out Ensemble. It was released in 2010. It's called 21 Burnt Weenie Sandwiches, and it's a whole bunch of weird interpretations, performances of Frank songs, including a pretty good, I think it's called Return of the Son of the Hunchback Duke. That's a pretty good performance, but I know it's on Spotify. It's probably on all streaming services. Whip It Out Ensemble. It's a pretty interesting listen. Check it out. Hello, my name is Shaggy. I'm the opinionated hippie. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to take a shallow little dive into Zappa's musical universe and briefly discuss a song called The Return of the Hunchback Duke. This is a song that if you were into tape trading or you had maybe looked into bootlegs of Zappa's throughout the years, you would notice that this title had popped up on a couple 68 boots, some 70 bootlegs, in the tape trading community. This song had appeared on a couple live shows from there. But it did not first appear officially on a Frank album until Volume 5 of You Can't Do That in Stage Anymore, Volume 5 in the early 90s. And it was a very short track. It's like a minute and a half long. And if you saw it on the track list, you're like, oh, cool, it's a new song. And then you listen to the album and you realize it's simply Little House I Used to Live In. And it's not all of Little House I Used to Live In. It's only the beginning of Little House I Used to Live In. And then it goes off into another track. Then in 2016, the title popped up again on an album called Road Tapes Venue Number 3, a complete July 1970 show featuring Flo and Eddie. And this time it is the complete Return of the Hunchback Duke, which consisted of Little House I Used to Live In, pretty much as we would know it in the Flo and Eddie era. So it's pretty much as played on Fillmore East 1971. I think there's a couple minor tweaks in there, but it's pretty much that version of the song. But when that ends, the Little House part ends, it doesn't go into Mudshark as it does on Fillmore East, June 71. Instead, it goes into Holiday in Berlin, the full-blown version, with lyrics, which include lyrics from Would You Like a Snack from 200 Motels? And then a whole new, brand new set of lyrics which discuss a show they played in Germany where there was a student protest, like the Democratic Student Union or something like that. There was a protest. They wanted Frank to be involved. He wasn't, but a riot broke out. They got caught in the riot. And the lyrics to this song detail that riot. So after that part, you get that full-blown Holiday in Berlin, full-blown, with lyrics. Then it goes into a guitar solo. And Frank had been playing Holiday in Berlin for a while. In fact, if you also go back to Road Tapes Venue number, I think it's number 1, the 1968 show, there is a song on there called Shortly. And that is Holiday in Berlin full-blown. And it doesn't have the lyrics, but it does have a guitar solo at the end. And you can kind of hear sort of like an Inka Rhodes vibe in that guitar solo, just kind of the tone and some of the phrasing. As Frank would play this guitar throughout the next couple of years, that Inka Rhodes would solidify into the riff that is played on the One Size Fits All Inka Rhodes song that comes at the end of Frank's solo. So once Frank started playing the song in 74, he had this riff at the end, which was like this very majestic, I refer to it as the Inka Rhodes theme. It's like this da-na-na-na, I can't hum it, but it goes, he plays a guitar solo, then he drops into this riff where he's kind of playing the lead lines, and then after that it goes crazy and you get into this the weird written parts with the singing and all that stuff. But it's that riff that was closing the Inka Rhodes solos from 74 on is the riff that would start off the Holiday in Berlin solos. So Frank would play that, and then he'd go off into a solo. So Return of the Hunchback Duke was one singular, approximately 10-minute entity. I think it's 10 minutes on that album. It is. It's exactly 10 minutes on that album. That song then became Little House I Used to Live In, by itself as a standalone song, both released on Burnt Weenie Sandwich and played live for the Flo and Eddie years. It then became Holiday in Berlin as your standalone song, which appeared on Burnt Weenie Sandwich, and which was actually performed as a standalone piece prior to being incorporated into the Return of the Hunchback Duke. And then you get the Inka Rhodes riff, just that post-solo riff, that also would then become a part of Inka Rhodes when Inka Rhodes would then be written and would develop in 73. So, yeah. And so you have instances of this throughout the catalog. You have Return of the Hunchback Duke, the full version on the Venue 3 tapes. You have a shorter version on You Can't Do That on Stage Volume 5. You have Shortly, which is released on Venue 1. And I think that's it. I think that covers all the occurrences of this. But it's also on a whole bunch of bootlegs out there. I do want to think, I say it's on one of the Beat the Boots that Frank officially released. I think that's where I actually first heard it, was on that actual bootleg album. And I think Frank still sells that on his website. So you can check that out if you want. That's also from a live show. So anyways, but that's it. That's just a little more look into what Frank does with his songs and how he takes them apart and puts them together and the things he does. And all of these are worth listening to because either the instrumentation is different, they're played faster, slower, there's a solo, there's not a slow solo. Flo and Eddie are yelling random nonsense, they're not yelling random nonsense. So there's a lot to get out of all of these versions, but knowing how they kind of all connect, I think, makes it a lot more interesting. So I'm sure I missed something important in this, but that's pretty much your basic Little House I Used to Live in, Holiday in Berlin, Inka Rhodes as a package, Return of the Hunchback Duke. I'm rambling. That's it. Have a good day. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Peace.